those eagle-eyed viewers, you'll notice that I am in a completely different space to where I normally am, and there's someone else in the videos. This, you guys may recognise, this is GoblinRides. He's been on my videos a couple of times.
It's been a while.
It's been over a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So we last did a judgment, like a reaction, am I the a-hole video. But we're actually in our podcast room. Today we've just filmed a podcast for GoblinRides, talking about like our music influences, so go check that out if you want to. But today we're actually doing a video which has kind of stemmed off the idea of a video someone else gave me, where we're going to talk about how we really feel about certain... how
Boromir.
It is Boromir.
Sorry.
How we feel about actual franchises. And, you know, if you guys have been around for a while, you'll know that I do a lot of research and I talk a lot about the intricacies of characters or of, you know, places that occur in these franchises, but I've never really sat down and just talked about what I actually think, and that's what we're going to do today. I don't think you guys have met Flint. If you have, it's been very brief, but this is Flint. He is our mascot on both the channels, so yeah, he'll probably be joining us today, won't he?
He's great.
Yes.
He's a great little guy.
So today we're actually going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. The reason that we're doing it in a podcast style is it's quite nice to have someone to talk to on occasion.
Yeah.
And it's a franchise that we both love, isn't it? It's something that you love, I love. I love the books and the films, you love the films. So I thought, why not bring you along for the ride and see, and we can talk about how we really feel.
Sounds good.
Goods and the bads. So, firstly, I'm just curious, like, what your first exposure was to Lord of the Rings? Not Hobbit. We don't really talk about the Hobbit much.
No, I had no idea about Lord of the Rings until my mum and dad, they insisted that we all went to the cinema to watch The Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this was 2001, so I was about 10 at the time.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was in for. I had no idea what it was about or anything like that, but I guess my mum and dad, they thought it was a good family movie to go and watch, because my dad
would have read the books, right?
The books.
Yeah.
He would have read Lord of the Rings. I don't know about The Hobbit.
I don't know.
But he would have read Lord of the Rings for sure.
Because that's something me and your dad bonded over. We bonded over books.
To be brutally honest, I didn't enjoy The Fellowship of the Ring when I was a kid, when I watched it for the first time.
But then, were you then apprehensive about going to see the second and third movies?
Well, again, that's the funny thing, is that I didn't really get a choice in the matter. My mum and dad just took I don't know if they took me and my brother, or they just took me to go and see it. But that's when I was like, wow, this film's amazing.
Yeah.
The Two Towers. I mean, I think even today, out of all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, that's probably my favourite.
I went to hiccup and nothing happened. So as you've got older, do you like the Fellowship of the Ring more, less, or the same?
No, I really like the
Fellowship
of the Ring now. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
so,
I especially because I'm able to contextualize the meaning of the movie as well.
Yeah.
And the turning point, because this was when cinema changed in a lot of ways. It was transitioning from real life animatronics to CGI.
This was like peak cinema, wasn't it?
Arguably, it's gone too far in the CGI direction, because the Lord of the Rings used CGI in the right places.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get on to that because I have actual little segments I want us to like chat about.
But yeah, I really like the Fellowship of the Ring now. Yeah, absolutely.
So my first exposure again is very different to how yours was. Growing up, I think I've mentioned this on my channel or even on GoblinRides. I'm on there like every week, guys. If you're interested in bikes, go check it out.
Yeah, check out the podcast.
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, literally every Friday I'm on.
Nearly every week, yeah. Yeah,
I'm on the podcast. So if you want to see a different side of me, definitely go check that out. But I grew up not really having any friends. I didn't grow up where you lived. We didn't know each other for like 20 odd years.
We lived on opposite ends of the country.
Exactly.
Near enough.
But my mum would read to me most nights, or every night, to be honest with you, and it would either be Harry Potter or The Hobbit. So my exposure was The Hobbit, and we had the Hobbit graphic novel and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't actually see any of the Lord of the Rings movies until they all came out on DVD.
Okay.
And then we sat down and over Christmas Day, Boxing Day and the 27th watched one film after another. The funny thing about this is that they were the extended editions.
Yep.
And I've not seen the other ones. I've never seen the
versions,
theatrical releases.
Yeah.
Whereas when we met, you'd only seen the theatrical releases, hadn't you?
Yep.
And I remember one of the little, it wasn't an argument, that feels like an over-exaggeration. We had a little barge.
It was a disagreement over the events of the movies.
So and I think I've mentioned this before. Now, if you've not seen the extended edition, this is a little bit of a spoiler. But in the theatrical release, Saruman.
Saruman, yeah.
What happens to him?
So in the theatrical release, Saruman is basically kept as a prisoner in his tower.
Yeah.
That's it. That's yeah. Should we add like spoilers? I mean,
well, I said there's a little spoiler coming up.
People should. If you
Guys,
haven't
it's
watched
been
Lord
out
of the
for,
Rings,
like,
yeah,
a long time.
We are going to be talking to spoilers, so yeah, if you haven't watched it, don't watch the movies first.
Yeah, but there are going to probably be spoilers. Yeah. There are going to be spoilers in this.
Yeah, 100%.
But, you know, I'll put a little disclaimer at the beginning. It's fine. And I remember we were having a chat, and I said, "Yeah, when Saruman dies, you're like, he doesn't die." I said, "Yes, he does." And we had this like little to and fro. And it got to the point where I said, "Look at this," and I showed him a YouTube video where Saruman gets stabbed in the back by Grima, and you know the whole thing with Legolas and all that sort of stuff. And he was like, "I've got to watch these movies." So I think it was literally the week after I drove to my mum and dad's. I got the box set and was like, came in the house like, "You've got to watch these." And every time we watch it, I always ask you, "Do you know this? Do you know this?" And you just said there were certain things that really started to make sense to you. Like about Aragorn's age, I think was one of them that you said. Yeah,
you never really questioned the events of the theatrical releases. You just kind of took them as word. Like Gregor, the horse.
Oh, yeah.
You are not introduced to Gregor in the theatrical releases at all.
Yeah.
You don't know what connection that horse has to Aragorn.
Yeah.
You don't know. And in the theatrical releases, you just assume that this is either a random horse that finds him, or it is his horse. But you don't really know who the horse is. And then it's only in the extended releases when you get that part of the story where you understand his relationship with the horse. And you know, it's just little scenes like that you don't really. You don't understand in the movie, but at the same time, you don't really need to, I suppose. It's probably why they cut it from the theatrical releases. But, yeah, the extended editions are...
They're superior,
way
to be
better.
honest.
Way better.
And I'll be honest, I've never watched the theatrical release because I would feel like I'm missing something. And I don't really want to have that feeling of sitting through a movie and being like, oh, something's missing. Because I remember watching the Harry Potter extended edition and then going back and just watching like a normal one on TV, and I was like, well, this is missing. Like, it irks me. It really does bother me. So I want to talk about a few things that... I'm going to do this across all the videos that I do, guys. There's going to be Harry Potter, Hunger Games, all that sort of stuff coming out. And it's going to be basically a no-holds-barred version of what I really think. Now, just a disclaimer, these thoughts are our own. We are talking about the franchises here. We're not talking about actors or directors or writers, anything like that. We're just literally talking about the movies themselves. So, what are things that you really, really liked? That really stand out to you?
Probably the things that stand out to me the most are the battle scenes.
Yeah, they are epic though, aren't they?
Yeah, just on the scale, because these are things on a scale that you never would have seen before on TV.
Yeah.
Ever, or in the cinema. You know, even when you look at like Saving Private Ryan movies with those epic battle scenes, the amount of people that are involved in these scenes, there's not a lot really.
No.
But what's going on at any one time in Lord of the Rings is so much bigger in terms of scale.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that was perhaps one of the most impressive things about it is, no one had ever been able to do a battle scene as good as Lord of the Rings did.
Yeah.
So that for me is probably the thing that sticks out to me the most.
I think one of the things I absolutely love about Lord of the Rings is the relationships that get built. So I agree.
The camaraderie.
Yeah, the fight scenes, epic. Of course they are. I mean, if they weren't, why'd we watch it? It'd be boring. It wouldn't be as impactful. But the relationship that Aragorn builds with Gimli and Legolas, I absolutely love. I feel as though the character development of Aragorn, I've done a whole video, guys, coming up around Aragorn's journey from Ranger to King. But the reason I did that was because I love that story so much. I love how, he is kind of like reluctant. He just wants to hide away. He's trying to hide away from what his family...
from his destiny.
Yeah, but also from Isildur's legacy.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to live with that. And he that kind of reluctant king coming through. I love that. I love all the little bits that you have, all the little kind of side conversations. I really love backstory and stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is that just, you put the battle scenes to one side, there are still lots of epic scenes.
Yeah, Shadowfax arriving gives me chills every time.
That's amazing. When in Fellowship of the Ring, when Aragorn is on his own and he stands up in front of how many Uruks?
Chills.
Like, it's just amazing.
But I also, one thing I really also love
just gives you chills.
Yeah, about Lord of the Rings is the amount of emotions that it fits into. So you have the epicness of the battle, but then you have the emotional scenes with like Boromir.
Or like when Sam tries chasing after Frodo.
Yeah.
And he's drowning because he doesn't know how to swim.
Yeah.
But he's determined to get to him.
When Gollum sets Sam up and Sam's walking down those stone steps.
Yeah, and he sees the bridge.
Yeah, and then it switches to just outright fear when you have Shelob and you're like, what the hell? There's so many emotions and they get them right, each emotion. Am I sitting to sleep? Each emotion they seem to get right. Yeah. I feel like not every franchise manages to get that balance of fear, emotion, shock.
Well, they couldn't do it in The Hobbit.
Well, we don't talk about The Hobbit that much on my channel.
Mainly because... They couldn't do it. They did not have the same impact in The Hobbit at all.
I do agree. Now, I like The Hobbit book. Like I said, I've grown up reading it. And I do like it. And I really, really wanted to like The Hobbit movies. And I do like them, but I don't love them. Which is why it's not really a franchise that I kind of cover that much. Because it's not something I'm super passionate about. But I don't... But like I said, I love the book. It's just, for me, the translation to screen wasn't as epic. And it had a lot to live up to, unfortunately. And it just fell short.
It's just the characters didn't have as much impact. There wasn't as much epicness going on. There didn't seem to be... The stakes weren't that high.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem to have the same... I mean, impact is the only word I can think of, but...
Yeah, I think that's a fair word.
They just didn't
have the same oomph, did it, really?
It just didn't feel the same.
No. And like I said, it had a lot to live up to, and unfortunately... I mean, again, I'm sorry, I keep touching on Harry Potter, but Harry Potter is the only franchise for me where its spin-off, or its prequel, The Fantastic Beasts, has turned out to be, in my opinion, my preferred watch over Harry Potter. But I think that's because I've aged and it's more of an adult audience type thing. Do you know what?
Harry Potter, I think it's absolutely amazing because it was competing with Lord of the Rings at the time.
Yeah.
And it was still a huge success.
Massive
despite
success.
the fact Lord of the Rings is arguably one of the best trilogy releases ever in cinema.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter was still able to hang there in lockstep with Lord of the Rings. I thought it was amazing.
I mean, we'll do a podcast around first thoughts of Harry Potter, if you're up for that. I mean, yours is...
It's not really my thing, but...
No.
Well, yeah, we'll do that.
So we'll bring you back for that. Because I do find it really interesting having conversation with someone where you've almost got two sides of the table, where you've got someone who vehemently loves something or believes in something versus someone who is completely indifferent or has a different point of view to it. And I think it's such an interesting bounce off. Where this one, we both have a love of it, it's yeah. So yeah, watch out for that one, guys. Okay, so that's the things that we did really love. Now, what are things that you didn't like about Lord of the Rings? And there has to be something. It's almost perfect, but it's not. There must be something you didn't like.
God, this is hard.
Yeah. This is the thing. I just want it to be like completely true, like an honest account.
For me, the best parts of Lord of the Rings are with the trio, right?
It's funny because
Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas.
I just filmed a video, and I think every video of Lord of the Rings I've talked about, I've said I really like the bits with. But
it's just their adventure.
It's more exciting.
It's far more exciting than what Frodo and Sam go through with Gollum.
Yeah, and I know what they go through is like they go through a lot and everything, but it's just it doesn't have that impact.
But the only times when the Frodo and Sam storyline get very good is when they are in lockstep with Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli.
Yeah.
Right? That's like in the Fellowship of the Ring, when they're all together, absolutely great. When they separate, so throughout the whole of the Two Towers movie, tell me how many important things really happen between Frodo and Sam in the Two Towers.
There's not really, is there?
They go through the Dead Marshes.
Yeah.
And they try getting through the gates of Mordor.
That's it.
And they weren't able to. Gollum stopped them. That's all that happened between Frodo and Sam in the Two Towers. And I maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there was something that was a bit more important going on there, but there just didn't seem to be. Nothing in that movie was that impactful. But then in the third movie, where I actually think that the events between Frodo, Sam, and Gollum and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli were all as good as each other, because you had the whole thing of the Shelob, you had the whole thing with Gollum slowly being corrupted by the ring again and betraying Frodo and Sam, and then of course you have the epic ending sequence where Frodo and Sam have got to try and get through the plains of Mordor to Mount Doom, and then you've got the events of Mount Doom.
See, for me, and I think the most epic moment of that film for me personally is...
For Frodo.
No, that's... No, wait, you're jumping the gun a little bit there.
That's great. I friggin' love it.
You got to wait, because you're going too fast. The most impactful thing for me with Frodo and Sam is the Mount Doom scene. That's it. Yeah. Where it goes up, and then he's like, you know what, sod this, I'm keeping it. And that whole kind of thing. That was the most impactful thing for me in that entire film. Yeah. The rest, the Dead Marshes, meh. Shelob, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah, but that was good though.
It was good,
and then as well, when you had Sam going after Frodo, thinking he was dead, and then going after him and taking all those orcs on his own.
Although, to be fair, that line that Sam goes, "Stick this" or whatever, that was good. But what I'm trying to get at is they do not outweigh the epicness of Aragorn with the ghosts. The mouth of Sauron scene where he chops his head off and he's like, that was... Which isn't
in the theatrical
No,
release.
that was just insane. But also, the for Frodo bit, I cry every time. And I know it's coming.
It's so good.
There is one scene that I cannot stand in the last movie.
The thing is, like the thing that makes that scene so impactful when Frodo turns around to Gandalf and says, "For Frodo," he's crying.
Aragorn turns around.
Yeah. Wait, sorry, what did I say?
Frodo turns around.
Gandalf. When Aragorn turns around.
I was like, I don't remember that.
He's crying as he says it. Yeah. Before he just charges all on his own.
I don't know. It's just because Aragorn might be thinking, "There's no way I'm coming out of this," but we're doing what we can.
It's just, how can you make a scene any better than that?
Yeah.
Those two words.
For Frodo.
Are just so inspiring.
It gives me chills and it makes me cry.
It's crazy how they're able to do that with 2 words and a brilliant actor who knows his job that well.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was ad hoc.
I don't know, like ad-lib.
Ad-lib.
Maybe.
Him crying was ad-libbed.
If...
Like, how can you do that? How can you have such an epic scene with such sadness and such inspiration all happening at the same time?
It's a lot to bear.
It's mad.
But what I was going to say was the scene I absolutely... there is one thing I cannot stand in Lord of the Rings.
Go on then.
And I have to do this every time. It's that kiss.
I know.
It's that kiss with Aragorn and Arwen at the end. It's like he hasn't eaten in 3 days or something. It's just not for me.
When you see it, you'll never not see it again.
Yeah, and I'm just like, cushion up.
We are so sorry for saying that, but
yeah, you won't. But this is the thing. The point of this video is me being is me being like so I can see you everywhere. It's me just being honest, and it's what you guys have asked for, so I'm just being honest. I do not like that scene.
Yeah, but
it makes me uncomfortable.
It's fine.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
It's
I will literally
fine.
not watch it.
Couples in love, they'll tongue each other.
Yeah, but not the camera right there. But I did like Arwen's story.
But well, I mean, because you're kind of flip flopping between scenes
Things
here.
just keep popping in my head.
But there's that scene as well so after he kisses Arwen,
with the
where I don't know why, but when I was watching it in the cinema, I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to say, "You bow to no one."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so epic!" Again, like there's epic scenes where you don't expect there to be any epicness.
Yeah.
It's glorious, man.
Yeah,
it's an absolute masterpiece.
And that's the thing that I know I wasn't going to talk about it, that lacks in The Hobbit. That's an epic ending, and then you get the extra bit where Frodo and Gandalf and Bilbo leave the shores.
Yeah.
And they take the last boat.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
And that's epic. And then, unfortunately...
Sam balls his eyes.
Yeah, and it's the music. The
it's really
music in that film, though, is just stunning.
It is.
It's just amazing.
I don't think they could have done it any better.
No. And I mean, one thing before we go into... I've got 2 things left on the podcast to run through.
Okay.
But the one thing I really, really, really love is the competitiveness between Legolas and Gimli. That only counts as one type thing.
Yeah, that still only counts as one.
Yeah, and the bit where Legolas shoots the orc that Gimli's sitting on.
You okay, Flip? Sorry, he kind of fell as I was putting him on the ground.
The orc that Legolas shoots with an arrow, even though he's like, he moved, and Gimli's like, yeah, because my axe is in his head. It's just little things like that.
That's not in the theatrical release either.
Is it not?
No.
See.
No, I know. Great scenes like that. Not in the cinematic movies. Yeah.
But guys, like if you've not seen them, you can literally go onto eBay, search World of Books. It's like a second-hand book and DVD place, and you can get the entire extended trilogy for about £15. And when it first came out, it was like 60. So if you don't mind second-hand,
more than that,
then
I think it was over £100.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, do go and
they are well
check
worth
that out.
it.
Yeah,
if you enjoy Lord of the Rings, the extended editions are well worth it.
When The Hunt for Gollum comes out, we will be going to cinema to see it, so I can give you guys a review.
Oh, for some reason I thought that was going to be a TV show.
No, it's not. It's actually a movie.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got the War for Rohirrim, which is the animated. I'm not sure when that's coming out. If you guys know, let me know. And then when I've watched that again, I'll review that, much as I do with most things. So we have a little quiz for you.
Oh God!
Little Lord of the Rings quiz, and this is a Chat GPT quiz, so we'll see. But the questions. So I read through these because I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything like ridiculously hard, and even the hard ones, the challenging ones. I think there's maybe like one where you might be like, "Oh, I'm not sure."
Okay.
Okay. So, question 1. What is the name of the first film in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy?
The Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes. Who plays Frodo Baggins?
Elijah Wood.
What gift does Galadriel give Frodo in Lothlorien?
The Light of Elendil.
Yeah, I mean, this is called the Light of a Vial of Galadriel, but I think you're actually more
the
right.
Light of Elendil.
What is the name of the giant spider?
Shelob.
Which character says the line, "Even the smallest person can change the course of the future"?
Gandalf.
No.
It wasn't Gandalf.
Give up.
Oh, is it Theoden?
Galadriel.
Oh, blimey. No, didn't get that at all.
What food do the hobbits receive from the elves that is described as one small bite is enough to fill the stomach
Elven
of a
bread.
grown man? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Gandalf has a line like that.
I think he does, yeah, but it's
a line
not
similar
that.
to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Robbed me.
They did. And the last one I'm going to give you, because the other ones are just, I can't pronounce them, so I'm not going to do them. In the extended edition of the Two Towers, which character has a vision of Arwen dying if she stays in Middle-earth?
Aragorn.
Not Aragorn.
Oh, is it Elrond?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
It was going to be one of them.
Yeah.
Because Aragorn has visions of
He does,
Arwen
but
as
they're
well.
given to him by Elrond, aren't they?
No.
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 But that was literally it.
Was that really all of them?
That
Go
was
on,
all
there's
the
more
ones.
than that. Go on.
Okay.
Go on, try and read them.
Okay.
There's only like 5 or 6 questions.
This one you're not going to know. What is the name of the actor who physically portrayed Sauron in the Fellowship of the Ring prologue? I will be astounded if you know this. I didn't know this.
I think I've heard of this somewhere.
Got any idea? First name or surname?
It's not Shaq, is it?
No.
I for some reason I have the impression it's a basketball player.
Salah Baker?
No, I don't
know who
think
that
that
is.
No, sorry.
What is the Elvish word for friend that Gandalf uses to enter the mines of Moria?
It's either Bellod or Bellog.
It's Mello.
Oh, Mellog. That's it, yeah.
So guys, if any of those are wrong, it's ChatGPT. I wanted to see what he'd come up with. But that's it for the podcast, guys. This is like I say podcast. This is an unofficial podcast. I've not really labelled it. But this is kind of, I guess, a first look into, or a real look into my thoughts and my real feelings around certain franchises. I will be doing, as I said, Harry Potter, Hunger Games.
I'm looking forward to do Hunger Games because...
Yeah, he's got thoughts. I will also be doing The Walking Dead, which I'll get you back for because you do like The Walking Dead.
I love The Walking Dead.
Any franchise I've covered so far, I'll be doing. If there's any other franchise you want me to cover, Star Wars. I've just started doing Star Wars content, so we'll do Star Wars as well.
Yep.
And I do like this kind of podcast feel, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. I've got some really cool stuff coming out this year. We're going to the Harry Potter studios. We're going on a few trips, which I'm going to try and vlog as well for you, so do subscribe so you don't miss out. And until next time, you take care.
Proper nerd stuff. I think that's what you should call the podcast.
Really?
Proper nerd stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. I'll catch you guys soon.
Bye.